Awakening with Brahmakumaris. Namaskar. Welcome to Awakening with Brahmakumaris. Welcome, sister.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Welcome to Going Beyond. Sister, I was just thinking the other day, we were speaking about comfort zone and control. So I found two more C's: criticism and comparison. Criticism and comparison, especially from childhood, it's very painful. It disturbed me a lot. It changed my whole personality. I was very thin, sensitive person. Thin in the sense muscular though. Then in those days people used to think that a tough guy is with thick cheeks and a lot of fat and a big tummy and like that. Probably I was 2 times more stronger than them. They used to call me sissy. So when I grew up, I said I'm going to have mustache. Then I went for bodybuilding and then for karates and kushtis and all that. And they call me this, and they used to compare me with the other guys. Look at that guy. Same age, look at him, how tough and good he is. What are you doing? Why are you so thin? These silly kind of comparisons, silly kind of criticism. Of course, not by my mother or father. They were beyond. So, I was just thinking of these two things. A lot of parents I've seen today compare and criticize. What I mean is, the parents.
Criticism and comparison begins from childhood, hurts when we're children, but hurts always. At any age, criticism and comparison is not comfortable for anybody. And the illusion is that the one who's being criticized is going through the pain. This is fine, but the one who is criticizing is also in pain.
How?
Because the energy that is getting created is not comfortable. It's an energy of agitation, an energy of rejection, an energy of anger, an energy of even fear that they will listen to me.
And so disliking that person.
Absolutely. So we need to understand that damaging, yes, but not only for the person who's being criticized. In fact, the person who is being criticized can equip himself to protect himself from the criticism being received. But the one criticizing will always suffer the damage. Always, because they are creating that energy of criticism, which has all these negative emotions. We always think that criticism is done by people who are intelligent, who are strong, who are powerful, even wise, because they know more. Whatever, like for a child, parents know more, teachers know more. So it's taken as a sign of it's good to criticize. That's how it's perceived, that it's good because they're wise, they know more, they're more powerful, and that's why they're doing it for the good of the other person.
So, what is the difference in correcting somebody and criticizing? Another C.
Another C, yes.
Conclusion,
yes.
Correcting.
Absolutely. So that we need to check the one who is criticizing would be able to understand what's the energy they feel, and the one who's receiving it would also know what is the energy they are receiving. Let's say, like you said, somebody says to you, you're too soft, you're too quiet, you should be more extrovert. Now somebody could say this as a very good piece of advice, and somebody could say it as criticism. But the one saying it would also know what they're feeling, and the one receiving it comes to know very fast what it is. Is it just advice or is it criticism? That's why the subtle checking is always, how am I feeling inside? Is it comfortable? Someone can give me advice and can keep on saying the same thing to me every day, but I'm not getting disturbed by it. They're giving me advice. But if I feel a little uncomfortable energy, then it's because the one who's giving it to me is not giving it with the right energy. So checking is there, checking is not here.
But criticism is never given with good, nice energy at all.
No, like you said, if a parent is saying something which is good for the child.
But that's not criticism, that's correcting somebody or advising
Yeah,
somebody.
but sometimes it's hurting the children. So we will need to be careful. Are we correcting or are we criticizing? Because sometimes the one doing it will say, I'm just doing it for their good. I'm saying it so that they know, they understand and they learn. But the one who's receiving it is experiencing tremendous amount of pain.
Yeah, I used to say, let him feel bad, so what? I did it for his good.
Yeah.
If he's feeling bad, so what? Let him cry.
Now here, look at the line. I did it for his good, let him feel bad.
And let him cry.
Good and bad, both cannot be happening together. You're talking about doing it for his good, but let him feel bad. If he's feeling bad, he cannot do anything good. This is very important.
If he is feeling bad, he cannot do any good, neither I am doing good.
You're anyways feeling bad. Anyone who's criticizing is creating turbulent energy inside. But even the one who's receiving it, you want him to do good. But to do good, I have to first feel good. And if I'm feeling hurt, whatever I try, things might work out fine, but you can't call it a good result because it was not done with a good seed, with a good intention, with a good feeling. So let's shift our focus from the doing part to how is the other person feeling about what I'm saying to them. Focus changes.
But sister, somebody can feel just, even if you tell him the soft word, then what about that? It's just like saying that even if you give them cold milk, they'll say, oh, it's too hard. Then?
Yeah, it's just important with what vibration it was sent. It's just never ever possible that you've sent the right vibration, but the other person got hurt.
Sure.
Absolutely. It's just that we might not be aware. We might not be aware that we are being critical. We might not be aware that we are being very judgmental. We might feel that that's why it's very subtle, and it's important to respect what the other person is feeling. If another person says, I was hurt by what you said, then we really need to check. Yes, there was something, even though it was very little in the intention, but the intention was to criticize. And that's why the other person has felt it. So checking of the one who is criticizing, checking of the one who is being criticized, and then understanding that damage to both. And breaking this belief system that criticism is good. One thing is criticism, and another word is critic. Now, let's say something is happening, and I'm a critic there in respect of the role of a leadership or a parent or whatever. So it's a critic, and one is to criticize, like you have for films. You have a film critic, but yet today we are seeing that a lot of film critics criticize. And the actor can feel it, that this was not a critic for my film. They were criticizing my personal thing. There's a difference, it's a very subtle thing, because a critic will only be talking about the quality of the work, the product, and the criticism will be hitting it to the person. And then the person can feel it. So, parent, teacher, friends, team leader, we need to be critics. We review the quality, the studies, the way of working of a child, everything, review, give our feedback. But criticism is when it hurts the person. Because one is to say, this was not done right, or this was wrong. And the other thing is to say, you are wrong.
You don't know how to do it.
Two things are different.
No matter how much I teach you.
So, you don't know how to do it also could be fine. But the other thing is, you are wrong. See,
You're always wrong.
It's like if you're doing something here, let's say there's something in your hand again and it falls. So I said, what you did was wrong. But one thing is, you are wrong.
But
Critic
it accidentally happened.
Critic is, what you did was wrong. And criticism is, you are wrong. And then below that is, bad boy, good girl. These words that we have started
using. So here
the deed has to
wrong.
be separated
from the doer.
Person. Yes. And the doer can feel this. So we have to be very, very careful while we are giving the feedback, whether it's a good feedback or sometimes not a very good feedback. Are we giving the feedback to the task, or are we giving the feedback to the person? Separate. This is detachment, because otherwise criticism is like violence. At the Brahmakumaris, we talk of this very, very subtle violence which can happen through thoughts and words. One is violence through actions, and so everybody is talking about non-violence and peace. But so much of violence happening throughout the day through thoughts and words. And this is violence because we're literally lashing out at the other person.
I really like this line, huh? Criticism is violence.
Yeah, because it will hurt you more than what a slap could hurt you. Physical violence, today, gone tomorrow. Pain today, gone tomorrow. Even wounded physically, pain today, gone tomorrow. Healed completely, forgotten day after. But criticism, wound, very deep, and just seems to getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and then very difficult to forgive and almost impossible to forget, because the scars are so very deep. So we need to be very careful that are we negatively reacting towards the person, or are we proactively working towards creating a right environment, the right task, the right way of working. And that's why it's very important to appreciate the person and then give the feedback on the task.
Give an example on this.
Let's say, it's very beautifully done at the Brahmakumaris. I can just share with experience how it's done and how the founder started it almost 75 years before. Because when so many brothers and sisters came together and living together, doing different kinds of tasks which they had never done before. So a lot of them doing things for the first time. So obviously mistakes. Obviously certain things not done the right way. Sometimes even, yes, that people are not very sincere or not putting it enough hard work. But then what the founder used to do was first appreciate them for the qualities that they have, for the other tasks which they do very well. So by the time what you do is you're preparing the person, and the person's self-respect is enhanced. The person has the power now to execute the next line which we're going to tell them.
Okay, so first you prepare them, give them a lot of power.
Yes, love.
Love.
Right, and build up the self-confidence. So basically they're ready now. Otherwise, if I get hurt when I receive that feedback, I'm not ready to execute it because I don't have any power left to execute it. And especially because it's coming repeatedly and very often from a lot of people, and very soon listening to people's criticism, I start criticizing myself. And once I become self-critical, what we saw the other day, self-talk, then there's no end to it, because at least I can run away from people who criticize me, but how to run away from my own self? And then my whole internal conversation becomes very, very critical, and that is deep wound. Lot of pain will not get healed. So consciously as a parent, and then of course in every relationship.
That's a very nice line. You said, I can run away from people who criticize me. But what do I do when I start criticizing my own self? How can I run away from myself?
True.
And how does this habit become, I start believing people?
Yes, because they not only said it to me, they also send it with that energy. And all the energy that I receive, because I don't know how to transform energy. When somebody sends energy to us, it's simple law of energy. When vibrations are reaching us, there are three things we can do with vibrations, with any form of energy. One, receive it means absorb it. You consume that energy. Second, you reflect it back to them. So if you criticize me, I criticize you. Reflect that energy back to them. Absorb it means you criticize me, I consume it, get hurt, pain, self-critical.
And somewhere in the mind you start believing it also.
It's because I've consumed that energy, means I've accepted that energy. And the third thing we can do to energy is transform the energy.
How?
Which means you may be critical to me, but I know myself and I approve of myself. I'm working towards making changes and towards doing things better, but I know I'm working, I'm better. And I understand that this is your sanskar of being critical. So you have sent me negative energy, but I have transformed it by understanding myself. You were not able to understand me, which I want from people around me. But at least I can understand myself. And so I transform negative energy, which I'm getting from people around me, to positive. This can be done with any form of energy. It's either absorbed there. Let's say somebody shouts at me, absorb their anger, feel hurt. Otherwise, reflect it back, shout back at them. And third, transform.
But sister, you cannot transform always, because I've heard people saying that anybody else says this to me, I don't mind. But when you said it, Suresh, I start crying, I feel bad because you mean a lot to me.
Yes.
Then how will that person transform?
It's because I'm able to transform with some people, but I'm yet not using that with everybody, and especially to people who I'm very closely attached to. I'm not using the formula everywhere. That's all. We know the formula. It's just that we're using the formula with some people. Let's say if somebody on the road criticizes me, I know how to transform it, which means I know how to transform it. But I don't use the same formula at home, because I said to feel hurt is natural. So another formula would come in, and that formula would not let me use my previous formula of being able to ignore what the other person has said and be able to see myself and understand myself.
No, I have that formula, sister. I have that formula. But when I value a person very much, when that person says, my formula I don't feel like using, I said, you too, Brutus.
If I value the other person, and then if I respect the other person, then I respect the other person's opinion too. And if I respect the other person's opinion, then let me just take what they have said and see whether I really need to do it. But it's not just valuing the opinion. I have also just received very heavy energy from there. It's that energy which is hurting. If the same person would have said the same thing with a different vibration, things would have been totally different. It's not about what is being said. It is about how it is being said.
Not necessarily. However you say, I can take it bad, because maybe that's my weakness. Maybe supposing I do not like to be called fat. You're fatso from childhood.
Right.
And you may call me with lot of love. But you know that hurt which is there within me from 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, that suddenly comes up now. And I say, you are also calling me?
No, it can never happen like that.
Why?
People may say it with a lot of love, but they're not thinking with that much of love. They are critical. If somebody is really not critical inside, they're absolutely stable, and they're saying it, it's a healing for the past hurt. A lot of people may have said it to me in the past, and there may be a wound. But if somebody comes and says the same thing to me with a different vibration, leave alone, the same hurt is getting triggered again. It's a healing on my past wound. But we are not able to sense the vibrations. We can only see how we feel. People say things with a lot of love.
Yeah, I understand. In my family, one of the young girls one day was crying. I asked her what happened. And she said that one of my brothers shouted at her. And I met that brother and I said, why you made her cry? Don't use such words for her. He says, what about Guga? They call me. What about Suresh Oberoi? When he tells you, why don't you cry then? Why do you do that with me? He said, when Suresh even beats me up, I don't mind. Let him do what he wants. I love him.
Same thing.
I don't mind his. And a lot of staff also say to my wife, we don't mind sir when he gets angry with us. We like it. She says, you like it, what do you mean?
Right.
I mean, this is a fact, what you're talking about.
Yes.
This has happened with my staff, my drivers or my other people cook. They say, we don't mind, Saab. And this is a fact I've seen, that even sweetly, the other people say, so now I understand what you mean, that you were sending energy first, then your sound.
Words.
So they
And
know
you're
my energy.
Yeah, and you're sending energy continuously, words once in a while. You know, people or on our mind continuously.
This I never realized.
Yeah.
You mean to say throughout the day, throughout my life, I'm always giving them so much of love.
Absolutely. It's
Okay.
not only just giving, it's like you're watching your staff working. They are doing a lot of things, your children, relatives, everybody. What are you thinking about them continuously? So a lot of people can speak very sweetly when they have to say it. But most of the time when they're thinking about people, they're very critical. And that critical energy is radiating to those people throughout the day. And then when the word is said, they just can't feel that it's good for them, because they've already been receiving a lot of that critical energy. Criticism need not be always through words. It's a lot to do with how we are feeling about the other people inside. And even comparison, same thing. Both can be very, very damaging. These are two habits which, if we keep a little attention, I'm not to criticize and not to compare anybody with anyone else. I want to motivate them. I want to share with them what is a better way of doing something. Take them as an individual and say to them, this is it, you can do it like this. But the minute I say, look at them, look how he does it or she does it, I've just told them, you're not good compared to the other person.
But it becomes a habit, sister.
But then its habits are meant to be changed. That's all that it is. Habits are meant to be changed when they're not getting the right results, especially between children. When parents are comparing between siblings, it can have a long-term impact between a parent-child relationship, between the sibling relationship, and the self-esteem of that individual who was compared to somebody else.
And you yourself
Of course,
so
are
much
creating
of
anger.
negativity inside you.
So we have to remember, spirituality teaches us a very beautiful thing. Each one is a soul, pure, beautiful, with a lot of original sanskars which are very lovely, beautiful. Each soul has them. And some now acquired sanskars. So look at the originality of the soul and give them feedback for what they're doing now. So respect to the soul, feedback to the task.
Respect
to the soul. You know, the problem why it was happening, they are wrong, they did this. They are wrong, they are behaving like this. So it was disrespect to the soul.
Oh.
Now it is, they are beautiful. She's a lovely soul, pure.
But
even if I can't see that purity right now, even if the acquired sanskars are absolutely contradictory.
You mean to say I am a pure soul, irrespective of what I do and what not do. So I should see that in everybody.
Absolutely.
That he or she, this is a pure soul.
Right.
But
doing this right now, or even behaving like, let's say for example, if you're getting angry, and say you're an angry person, always getting angry, always shouting at everybody, then my consciousness is you're an angry soul. You're not a nice soul. You're hurting people. This is criticism. And the spirituality will shift the consciousness to originally peaceful soul. Peaceful soul who's forgotten that he's actually a peaceful soul, and so is getting angry right now. And now say, you know what? This anger is very damaging for you and for people around you. Difference. Because the vibration that will go will be different. The word can be very stern if you want. But the vibration's gone and done the work of giving respect, understanding that this soul has just shifted from its original quality, has forgotten the original quality, but is a very beautiful soul. And that's why Raj Yoga, the first fundamental thing is soul consciousness. Look at every individual in their true nature.
Look at every individual
in their true nature.
In their true nature.
Not what they have acquired today, not even the sanskars that they have acquired today. Even those are acquired. the mistakes they're making, the tasks that are going wrong are of course acquired.
Why can't we say at that time, even I have acquired so many things during lifetimes.
Absolutely.
Even I have so many mistakes.
Exactly.
When I was that age, I also did so many mistakes.
Yeah, but when we're talking to other people, we're rarely thinking about ourselves. That is the thing. So soul consciousness is something which we can practice the whole day. And when we do this comparison with other people, between two people, there again we need to remember they're two individual souls. Even if they are my children today, same environment, same parents, same sanskars we've given them, then we need to remember they're coming from two different pasts. Even as parents, when we have this habit of comparing between two children, we need to remember they're two unique souls. Yes, today they're in the same environment, same set of parents, we're giving them same sanskars.
Even though if they're twins.
Even if they're twins. But they come from two different pasts and they're carrying two different karmic accounts. They have created different sets of sanskars in the past. And so even if everything is the same today, they too are going to be totally different. And if we try to make one like the other, we're only creating a conflict, because then that one will neither become like the other and neither will retain his originality, because he will go into this cycle of pain and low self-esteem, lose his own qualities. So it's important to just take the individual, understand he's carrying a lot of past karma. So take that individual child. That's why we shift from criticism and comparison to understanding the person. Why are they behaving like this? Something in the past, something in the childhood, or maybe something in the very, very distant past, which is the past birth sanskars. So we're going beyond criticism and comparison to understanding the soul. That yes, this soul is carrying past sanskars and that's why they behave like this, and then helping them to heal their own sanskars, not forcing them to change their sanskars.
Helping them to understand themselves also.
And then heal their sanskar. So that would create the right energy for somebody to transform.
Wonderful, sister. Shall we do a little small meditation on this, if you have some time on this?
Let me look at everyone around me, doing things their way, behaving in a way that comes comfortable to them. I, the detached observer, can see that things are not right. Behavior is not right. And I want to say it to them. But let me be careful. Feedback on the task, on the acquired sanskar and behavior, but love and respect to the soul and the original qualities of the soul. Let me take care of the energy I create before saying it to them. They are pure, peaceful souls, beautiful, perfect and complete, have forgotten their original nature. And my role is to recognize that original beauty and empower them to emerge that beauty again. Love and understanding is the way. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Alternate ending without the meditation. Thank you very much, sister. We'll think 10 times before we criticize or compare anyone with anyone. Thank you. Namaskar.